We've gone from a 400k turnover in 2021 when I first met Martin to 1.4 million turnover last year. You would have to apportion a fair amount of that to having a trusted advisor. I don't think I would be where I am now if I wouldn't have had a coach. I think sometimes I question the value. Is this actually worth the money? Are we actually making any progress here? When I first met Martin, I had a plan. I wanted a helicopter in 5 years. That was the goal. If I want a helicopter in 5 years, how much do I need to earn? How much do I need to take home? So therefore, where does turnover need to be? How do we get to that? We achieved that in 4 years rather than 5, and I certainly put having a coach as a key reason to how we hit that in 4 years. We're now building the plan for the next 10. Why I use Martin is because he's a Scotsman and he does hold me to account. I have had other coaches in the past I haven't had that kind of relationship with, and it hasn't been as valuable. I certainly haven't achieved the things that we've achieved. And thus you need that external person to say, these actions have to be undertaken. If you don't do it, the whole thing falls apart. So ensuring that I stand up to my role and say, yep, as the MD, as the business owner, these are the steps we have to take. I make sure they happen. You certainly have to be held accountable, but to someone. We were 2 people in 2020, we're 14 now. We've increased from 200k turnover in 2020 to 1.4 million in 2024. Profit-wise has remained broadly the same, so 34% margin every year. Amazing, really. You would have to apportion a fair amount of that to having a trusted advisor, having a person to talk ideas through, actually someone who's honest with me and says, that's a bad idea, James, don't do that. And someone who also says, well, have you thought about this? Have you thought about all the things I would never have considered? It goes home. I hope they notice. I'm a lot more confident in me now than I ever have been, which I think that can only be a good thing. With Martin, it's more than an hour every 2 weeks. It's him altering my mindset to make sure I'm thinking about a lot more than I would have ever have thought of. I use him as a reference point mentally. If I was to say this to Martin, what would he say? Certainly, I don't think we would be here now if I didn't have a coach.